Greetings and hello. Hope this day finds you safe, healthy, and happy and thriving wherever you are, whatever you're doing, however you're doing it, that you're just living your best life. Really just enjoying the hell out of whatever it is you're doing, wherever you're doing it. This is the New Thought Media Network. I'm Ken Ludwig. You are watching Vibrant Living. And happy 4th of July. It is Independence Day. It is the celebration of the independence of this country. And let's start, first and foremost, Dr. Ernest Holmes. And life will be to you what you are to it. Of necessity, there is a divine pattern at the center of everything. This is the Christ in you, waiting your recognition. Somehow you must link your will, your thought, your intellect, your imagination, and your feeling with the divine presence, which is already there. Between this perfection and completion, which already exists, and your intellect, environment, and everyday experiences, there is the accumulated experience of your subconscious mind. But kind of like a description of how of the first 4 chapters of the Science of Mind textbook, right? The thing itself, what it does, how it works, and how we use it. That's exactly how it is right there. I was getting, this is going to be a shorty today. I wasn't planning on even doing a show. It's Independence Day, but I want to, we live in interesting times. And if you've watched me at all over the years, or if you even listened to my old radio show back in the 2009, 2013, one of my favorite things is we live in interesting times. And I always refer to the ancient Chinese saying, may you live in interesting times. And I have always maintained that that's either a blessing or a curse, depending on your perspective in the moment. And I think that really applies to the United States of America today. And I just thought we'd stop by and take a look at this. Between June and July of 1776, the people who became known as the Founding Fathers put together the Declaration of Independence. It was a declaration of our independence from the British. On July 4th in 1776, 248 years ago today, that Declaration of Independence was ratified by the 13 colonies that made up the United States of America. The Founding Fathers, the average age of the fathers was 44 years old. And at least a dozen of them were 35 or under. And there were actually a couple of teenagers involved as the Founding Fathers. James Madison was 35 years old. Benjamin Franklin was 70, but James Madison was 35. And so often our democracy is referred to as Madisonian democracy. He was 35 years old. He was, very, very, very young man. And there were, like I said, a couple of teenagers involved in this. And the reason I even wanted to talk about this today is because I think we're living in a time in history, a time in the history of this country, where we are looking at the possibility that our independence, our democracy, might be in play. That perhaps this isn't going to continue, and I think it's important that we stop and reflect on what this was all about the idea of being controlled by a foreign entity, by a king, by the whims of one person. And in so many instances in the colonies, whoever was the jurisdictional head of the area where you lived, by that one person who was endowed with the ability to do, say, and think and perform whatever the hell they wanted from the King of England. The idea of the Declaration of Independence was because the colonists were looking to free themselves from that kingly overlord, if you will. And the preamble to the Constitution is definitely referred to as kind of an indictment of King George III. It was a denunciation of the British people. And so here's I want to give you, this is the introduction to the Declaration of Independence. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station in which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare causes which impel them to separation. That's the introductory piece of it anyway. And I always am fascinated by this one sentence. The separation equals station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitled them. Now, many constitute or historical scholars who talk about the Declaration of Independence, they say this reference to nature's God is not a reference to any of the Judeo-Christian tradition God. It is a reference to the Great Spirit, to the Native American God, to the Native American spirit that the early settlers were exposed to via the indigenous peoples of this country. So nature's God is not, quotes, the Christian God. It is the God, the Great Spirit of the natives. The preamble of the Constitution goes on to say, we hold these truths. These are words that many people are familiar with or have heard before. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed with their creator. That they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. And that is what, then the rest of the Declaration is not particularly long, but I'm not going to read the rest of it. That's really the introduction, the preamble are the pieces to me that are salient into our consciousness right here and right now. There is our country is it's kind of at a crossroads, and we're experiencing a time in history where things have been really bad, the pandemic, and now we are what people refer to as post-pandemic, and we're still recuperating, especially economically. We're recuperating, and even though there's rampant inflation, this is still the best country in the world. Even though there are real questions about the billionaire class, the millionaire class, the super rich, the 0.1%, those people controlling our government, our judges, our candidates, we are still the most abundant, the most free, and the most liberal democracy on the planet. But here's the thing that has come out, I think, recently, because of maybe a corruption of some of our institutions, and I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm referring distinctly to the Supreme Court, where at least 2/3 of it is corrupt or corruptible, if you will. Those institutions are what they are, and are becoming what we allow them to become. No one is coming to rescue us. No one is coming to change the opinions of that court I just mentioned. No one's going to overturn those or overcome those. There is no one out there coming to save us. We absolutely, from a spiritual, economic, political, personal sense, we are the people we have been waiting for. We're the only ones who can save us. And how do we save us? We save us with the ability to perform the vote that was given to us by what I read, the Declaration of Independence, that started the ball rolling to giving us the vote. Now, not everybody had the right to vote back then, right? It was only white landowners, basically. There were no minorities voting. Well, there really weren't a whole lot of minorities other than blacks here at that time in history. Women were not allowed to vote. Women weren't allowed to vote until the 20th century. And neither were blacks allowed to vote. And Even when Lincoln freed the slaves with the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, they still weren't people, excuse me, as far as voting was concerned. But now we all vote. We can all vote. And I just want to say, in honor of the 4th of July and the Declaration of Independence, let's each and every one of us declare our independence from collective thought, from media thought, and examine everything from our own personal point of view. Who is for us? If God is for us, who can be against us, as Ernest Holmes said? Who's for us? Who's not for us? Who's for themselves? Who's not for the rights of everyone? Think about that. It's about the independence to think and to make a decision, make a determination as to what best serves you as an individual, and then to say to yourself, okay, if it serves me best as an individual, does it also serve the common good? And in this case, the common good is our country. Does it serve the country? Use your ability to think. That's all I got for you. That's it for me today. Happy 4th of July. I want you to remember that this show is brought to you by Hempworks, makers of the hemp-infused coffee that I so love. It has 5 milligrams of CBD in every cup, and chaga mushroom in there, and some other things for your good health. Also, they're makers of the finest CBD products you're going to find anywhere, the best tincture anywhere, the purest, the cleanest, the most highly concentrated, and an absolute verifiable that what you see is what you get, because it is all third-party validated from seed to oil. So an incredible variety. Go to hempworks.com/Ken Ludwig and you can find it there. Please remember always that this station, New Thought Media Network, is a nonprofit organization. We live, breathe, and move by virtue of your generosity, and we are very grateful for every penny that you give us. And please go to New Thought Media, ntmedia.org, click on donate, and we'll be thrilled to get whatever it is you want to send us. You can find me at teamrocketnow@gmail.com if you want to send me an email. My beloved Lisa and I have a branded Facebook page called Vibrant Aging, which goes hand in hand with this show, Vibrant Living. I'm going to leave up Team Rocket right there. Once more, donating ntmedia.org for donation, and I will put up the sponsor of the show. As always, I am immensely grateful for the great gift of your time and your attention. I wish you all the love and all the blessings the universe has to offer. I hope you will join me every Thursday, 2 o'clock Mountain Time, 4 o'clock Eastern Time, for another edition of Vibrant Living. But until then, my friends, namaste.